Welcome to episode 58 of Crosstown Cardboard with myself, Carmine at Carmine's Cards, the sports reporter down here in Greenville, South Carolina, and Craig, the math teacher and the soccer coach, originally from Long Island, but now in the heart of the Big Apple in New York City. And he's at New York City Sports Cards. I mean, that's great branding to start off. But episode 58, a little bit of a nerdy title for this one. We're calling it, and you can tell the titles that I came up with versus the titles that Craig came up with. Episode 58, Mysteries of the Hobby Universe, because we have a couple stories to share that are new news. Shout out to the New Heights podcast with Travis and Jason Kelsey. I don't want them to steal any of our viewers, but they have 1 million subscribers, so I think they're doing all right. And the mysteries of the hobby universe, though, because we both have that new news of events that have tied together in the hobby, and somehow we can't figure it out, but the stars and the planets have aligned to hopefully cause something good to come out of it. So, Craig, first of all, how are you doing? And then can you please enlighten me, because I don't even know what this mystery is. We kept it a mystery from your co-host as well.
I'm feeling good. We have some good fall weather over here in New York, although it's the 5th Saturday in a row that it has rained. But regardless, feeling really good. As far as the title, Mysteries of the Hobby Universe, this went from a very uneventful hobby week for me to kind of a not so good hobby day. And then later at night turned into an incredible hobby week. And somehow all these things are tied together and come full circle. It's almost fate in such a way. So the mysteries of the hobby universe. How is it that these things happen and the stars all align? That's a little teaser. I guess we'll just work our way into it. Wow. A little bit of something for everyone on this episode.
I'm thoroughly teased. So can you please start off with I guess it's the bad part of the mystery, and then it ends with a happy ending?
Well, I set up at a show yesterday, and I don't really get to do shows in the fall because I'm coaching, but I had 2 games yesterday that I coached at 3:30 and 5:30. So I had some time in the morning. Let me tell you, I had some very, very, very low expectations for this show. 20-table show in Queens. I was setting up with a buddy. He even told me last time it was dead. I knew it would be dead. I've been to a similar show before, and I went to the show thinking I'm probably not even going to move anything, but I'm excited to at least hang out around cards for a couple of hours. I couldn't stay the whole time. I stayed for 2 hours, and let me tell you, the show was pretty dead and pretty depressing. Now, okay, we're not the guys who could just go to Chantilly, which I saw was this weekend, go to these big shows. So we take what we can get locally, but this was pretty rough. About 15 tables. There were probably more vendors than people who attended the show within the 2 hours that I was there. But
wait a minute. In 2 hours, you're telling me you didn't get more than 15, 20 people walking in?
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Yikes. Okay.
But I knew that. That's why I really wasn't too disappointed, because I went in expecting that this was not going to be great. The flyer got no promotion. There wasn't even a time on the flyer. It was just kind of not so put together. And if you've been to this local show like in Queens, you know the promoter, Andrew, he just very old school, hasn't really adapted with the times. And it's disappointing because of the potential for the show. It's in Queens. It's right by a lot of subway stops. So not really much happened there for a couple hours. I got to set up next to my good friend, Joe, who is the biggest John Starks collector in the world, the Dump 3 collector. My buddy Al came by, who's NYC Hoops collector. He came by because his softball game got canceled. I graded a few cards with him that he gave back to me, including this 2008 Sports Illustrated for Kids Floyd Mayweather in a PSA 2.
Nice. Okay. Well, I'd imagine that's a tough grade with how you have to rip it out of the magazine back in the day.
Yeah, I'm disappointed. I kind of wanted it to get a 1, but
so you'd rather have a 1 than a 2?
Oh, that'd be way cooler.
Okay.
And this Rose Lavelle on-card autograph, PSA 7, tough grade, but I got this card from our Wolfpack trade night. So at the very least, I was able to hang out with some friends. He dropped off some slabs. The only deals that I made is I went to one guy and I bought a few game-worn cards, 4 to be exact, and I ended up selling one of those cards to somebody else at the show. So I walked away with a Deron Williams 3-color patch out of 29 from 07 Artifacts basketball, a Craig Kimbrell, shout out to Craig, Game worn patch out of 25.
Greg.
Greg, and an Eric Weems National Treasures patch for the Atlanta Hawks, just in case we set up at Culture Collision, just in case. Getting
Okay.
some Atlanta cards. So yeah,
Okay.
pretty uneventful show. Thank God I was only there for a couple of hours. Need to do a better job promoting. It was pretty depressing, but you know what? It didn't take up too much of my time. All good.
2 hours. You got to hang out with a couple hobby buddies. You got your PSA cards back. And wow, but more people set up than people who came in the 2 hour period. Okay. So yeah, I could see why you'd be a little bit down. So what happened after that?
And well, one of the other actually slabs that I got back, I sold at the show. So the only cards I sold at the show were one of the slabs that I just gotten back that day, and a Barry Sanders player worn jersey card that I picked up at that show as well.
Okay.
If you go back to the beginning of the year when I picked up the Cassius Clay rookie card, the circumstances were that I went to a show in Connecticut. I think it was Connecticut, and I came away with nothing. It was a disappointing show for me as a buyer. So if you remember, I had that money burning a hole in my pocket.
I do.
So when that PWCC auction ended that night, I was like, well, it wasn't a good show, but I have this money to spend. That's when I pulled the trigger on the Cassius Clay rookie card.
Yep.
Okay. So similar set of circumstances here. Where
well, now not only do you have the leftover money, you have the emotional damage of where you've been, a little bit cast aside, you're down on the hobby a little bit. And do you think that factors into, along with the money burning a hole in your pocket, the emotional down where you want to do something to get back up?
Yes, combined with where I got this card. So,
Okay.
Are you familiar with Mealy Pops, the shop in Florida?
Only from what you've told me.
What is you and I's special connection with Mealy Pops? Come on, you know this.
Oh, that's exactly where we met at the National. We knew, well, you told me I'm at the Mealy Pops, and I had scoped out the scene the day before, and I knew exactly where that was. And that's where we met in person for the first time at the National.
Very good. So their shop Mealy Pops on Instagram. They have a store in Jacksonville, Florida. And they run these every month or so. They run these Saturday night live auctions. They call it Mealy Pop Madness. So much fun. Closest thing you can get to a card show online, where he has a table full of cards. He goes through all the cards with the prices. And then when he says go, you negotiate.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a lot of fun.
That sounds fun. Wait, so anybody can jump in on the negotiation? So he's negotiating with a bunch of people at the same time?
About 75 to 100 people in the Instagram live. And I tune in almost every month. I usually always buy something. They always seem to have stuff that I like.
Okay.
So long story short, I pulled the trigger on a card. And let me tell you, it is very hypocritical. Very hypocritical.
Oh, no. Is it player worn?
Oh, even worse.
Oh, is it? It's not affiliated material?
I know. It's not. However.
Oh, my gosh. This is just one episode after we said we're game used guys.
I know.
Okay. Well, it must be good. It must be good if you're breaking one of your big rules.
So the card had a sticker for 600, but you negotiate, and I offered 470. You type it in the chat. I'll give you 475 for this, and they either say no, or they counter, or they say yes. They accepted the offer, 475 for a 2022-23 select Harry Kane and Son, the two strikers for Tottenham. Harry Kane is now on Bayern. Dual patch, black prism, 1 of 1.
Wow. Okay.
So I guess a new Crosstown cardboard bylaw is that we make the exception for game worn if it's a black prism 1 of 1. What do you think about that?
I like the 1 of 1. I like that. I was looking at a Marshawn Lynch player worn flawless Nike logo patch that was like I said, player worn from the Oakland Raiders with our guy Mikey's cards, and I was trying to get it off his hands because, like you said, a 1 of 1. It's still an awesome patch, even though maybe we've been desensitized to the game used, not over the course of releasing the last episode to now, but just over the course of the newer products coming out. For the 1 of 1s, though, exceptions can be made.
And I just sent you a picture of it if you want to check. So there's obviously a lot of very avid Tottenham fans, And the patches are nice. There's no denying that. But the black 101, man, I've just had so much success either trading or selling those. So any Tottenham's going to love this card. And I was able to get it for $475, which I felt like was a really solid deal. And I'm slacking on the soccer inventory. So I got a black dual patch 101. I get it's not associated, and I understand the hypocrisy after last week's episode titled We're Game Used Guys, but I wanted a really cool, unique soccer card. And after a failed day at the show, I was able to pick this up at what I thought was a good price. Now,
Okay.
you wanna
I'm
know
showing it on the screen. I'm showing it on our YouTube right now. The photo you sent me of the dual swatches, 1 of 1. Now, when you said Harry Kane and Son, I was like, oh, Harry Kane's son is on a dual patch with him. What's this guy's full name?
Heung-min Son. So he's a striker. He's still on Tottenham. Harry Kane is now on Bayern, but they spent a lot of years together in Tottenham. It's the kind of card that I'm pretty confident I'll be able to move at some point for a price greater than I paid. And I like to have inventory. I like to have some skin in the game. Would you like to know how this ties all together?
Yes, please, because we have a 1 of 1 authentic material soccer dual patch. We have a disappointing card show. What's the payoff here?
You're gonna love this. So I'm breaking news to you right now.
You are
Mysteries of the Hobby World. You and I met for the very first time at National in front of Millie Pop's booth.
right.
Yesterday, I had a crappy card show.
Yeah.
I went on to Millie Pop's Live Madness, and I was able to buy this card, which I love.
Yeah.
Guess what other announcements that Millie Pop's made on their live last night?
No idea.
They are opening a second location in Greenville, South Carolina.
No way. Get out of here.
I swear to God.
That is impossible.
I swear. How amazing is that? And obviously, for anyone
cannot
listening,
Wow.
Carmine lives in Greenville, South Carolina for his work now. So now you're going to have a brand new, really high quality card shop in your neighborhood.
What? Of all the cities, I know Greenville is up and coming and the population has increased, I think, like 50% in the last 20 years. It's insane the way this area is blown up here in Greenville, South Carolina. But the fact that they're opening a store in my new city and we met in front of that booth at the National and you love their Instagram lives and just bought a card from them, that's freaky. That's a mystery of the hobby universe.
That's what I'm saying. So I guess the title works. And I'm excited for you as a sports broadcaster.
Yeah.
One, I assume you're going to be a frequent visitor of the shop. And I don't know, maybe there'll be some potential for you guys to do a little something together.
Yeah. And I did a story on a sports card store opening up in back in Medford, Oregon, where I used to live. So would definitely love to do something with Mealy Pops for work. And people love that, that new place to bring your, first of all, it's promoting small business, which I always love, people grinding, entrepreneurs, and they're probably a decent size business if they're opening a store here. But still, I mean, they're trying to do it for themselves, and I always love promoting stuff like that. And it has a sports card tie. I'm a sports reporter. I think I could probably make that work, but man, that's crazy. I can't believe, because you just told me right here. So I
was gonna text you yesterday, but I really wanted to surprise you on the airways. And look, anytime a new card shop, let alone like a quality card shop, opens in your area, for any collector, that's amazing. Now you have another place you can go into, buy, sell, trade, schmooze around a little bit. So I'm excited for you. I'm excited for you to have this new shop in town.
Yeah, thanks, bro. And also, if they have stuff that you like, they probably have a good amount of stuff that I like too.
And before we get to your card story, let us not forget, we also, speaking of new shops, we got to shout out Mark and Jake and Jess over at Bleecker Trading, which just opened up their own storefront, which is another local card shop. So now you've got Bleecker Trading's got their own storefront with singles and slabs and wax right next to Cards and Coffee. So now you got two card shops next to each other. So shout out to Bleecker Trading, who's always been a supporter of the pod, of Card Club, for just opening up their store. So look, you can talk about the ups and downs and the lulls of the hobby, but here we are 58 episodes in. Bleeker's opening up a new shop. Millie Pops is opening up a new shop. If you just block out all the drama and the negative stuff, the hobby's doing well. things are good. Things are alive.
Yeah, yeah. There's always, you can always take two paths in life, and in the sports card hobby. You can choose to look at it glass half empty or glass half full. But you know how we look at it on this show. We yes, thank you for the illustration with your water bottle. That's a teacher show and tell. But I mean, like we've been saying, there's so many other podcasts and different ways to get distracted or get brought down on, social media or otherwise, the negatives that come along. And we're here to, sometimes talk about that kind of stuff, but for the most part, present our own stories, perspective, connect with people, and do it in a positive way and get recharged, during this escape and something that we can nerd out over and get excited about and bond with each other. And, our title's nerdy, like we said, Mysteries of the Hobby Universe. So, Craig, that kind of leads into my story that I wanted to share. And this is a unique one because, usually when we talk about card deals, the deal's been completed. And then, oh, we're getting this new card and here's how the deal went down. Well, right now, my deal being completed is a mystery in itself because I'm not sure if it's going to actually happen. I hope it does, but I'm not sure it will. And first of all, before I talk about the negotiation process, I want to show you, and I already told you this card, but for our viewers and listeners, the card that I'm going after is on the screen right now. It's the 1981 Topps Larry Bird rookie card, the first one when he was pictured by himself. I have the original signed by all three of the legends, the one that Magic, Bird, and Dr. J were all featured on in the 1980 Topps, the triple card with all three of them. I have all three autographs. I know I've talked about this card a few times, but it's the favorite one that I have in my collection, along with my Larry Bird Flawless Patch Auto 1/1. And the triple autograph, the 1980 Topps with all three guys, is a PSA 5 with a 10 auto. And I got that at the most recent National. So now I'm after the 1981 single card, only the picture of the man, Larry Bird. And this one is autographed in white ink. So it really pops off the card. It's a PSA 9 with a 10 auto. Now, you might think, well, there's 1,500 Larry Bird PSA 9 rookie cards without the autograph. So there must be a decent number of PSA 9 with a 10 auto. You would think that there might be. There's only 10 of these in the world with a PSA 9 and a 10 auto grade on the Larry Bird rookie.
10.
Now, there's also none higher in PSA. I haven't checked BGS. I'm not sure if there's any BGS 9.5s, but in PSA, this is the highest possible Bird rookie auto grade that you can get.
Now, is this a card you were targeting, or did it just come across your feed?
That's a great question. And it's been a card that I was targeting ever since I found out that it was a card that I could get, that it was so rare. I mean, of course, I knew Larry Bird's rookie, 1981 Topps. I assumed that he had quite a few autos out there. I did not know until I went on my guy Adam's podcast, Splendid Sports Cards. He had me as a guest, and you can kind of see the picture of us here from his Instagram. He's championing the Indiana State Sycamores Larry Bird jersey, and I got my Larry Bird Boston Celtics shirt with the caricature of him. And we just chopped it up about Larry Bird cards for basically 2 episodes. We talked for like an hour. And he wanted to have me on because he's also a Larry Bird collector. And he showed me, he said, look at this card I got. And I said, oh, that's awesome. Larry Bird rookie auto. And he said, yeah, it's a PSA 9 with a 10 auto. He said, when I got it in 2021, it was a Pop 4. I said, what? How can that be so rare? If a PSA 9 rookie card of Larry Bird without the auto has like a 1,500 pop. So that really shocked me that card was so rare. And then fast forward a month later, and one of my close buddies, Candlestick Cards, messages me and he says, hey, I got a card for you I think you might like. One of my buddies is looking to sell this. And I said, okay. And lo and behold, a mystery of the hobby universe, like you said, it comes full circle again. And just a month after finding out how rare this card was, I now had the opportunity to buy it or make a move for it. And so, yeah, shout out Candlestick Sports Cards. And that's my guy from the West Coast. We used to hang out at the Burbank show, Gabe. And he recently went full-time sports cards in the hobby. So congratulations to Gabe. Great guy with a really booming radio voice. I was telling him if he, is thinking about a second career, maybe think about sports broadcast. So all of a sudden, Craig, I had the opportunity to make a move on this very rare, I would call it a bird grail. I mean, it's the highest graded bird rookie auto that you can get after just finding out how rare it was.
I like the silver ink on it too. I think it was a nice touch.
Mm-hmm.
So this is his true rookie.
True rookie.
Signed rookie.
1981. Yep.
Pop 10.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. So definitely a grail for a bird collector.
None higher.
If I had to guess a value, knowing I've done zero research, I'm going to throw out a number 2,500.
Listen, you know your stuff. That's exactly what this guy's asking for it.
Okay.
The exact number, 2,500.
What can I say?
Now, you're talented. So there's no comps. I can't find any on Card Ladder as far as a PSA 9 with a 10 auto. What I can find is a PSA 9 with a 9 auto, which sold at a fixed price a few months ago for $1,500. Now, the 9 auto to the 10 auto, that's a huge difference, especially on a card like this, where it takes it to a pop 10 with none higher. So knowing what you know about the PSA 9 with a 9 auto being sold at $1,500, do you still feel comfortable about your valuation at $2,500 for the 10 auto grade?
I think that's a reasonable ask price, but I'm assuming in your head you're looking somewhere in the middle, maybe 2,000, which I think is more than fair.
Exactly. That's what I'm looking for. So I reach out to the gentleman and I asked him, this is my intro message, which hopefully will resonate with any of our listeners and viewers. And, if you're going through a deal or trying to make something work, that's why I'm trying to talk this out with you, Craig, because it's always easy once the dust has settled and the deal's done to then talk it out and say what you were thinking and that kind of thing. But I thought it'd be cool to talk about before a deal's completed. What's the mentality? How are we feeling? Maybe, bounce some ideas off you of what moves I should make next.
Well, the fact that it's been a couple of weeks since this came across your radar.
I first messaged Gabe, Candlestick Sports Cards, about a week ago. Wednesday. We're recording here on Sunday. I've been talking to the guy who actually has the card since Wednesday, trying to work something out.
Okay. So it's been a few days. The honeymoon phase has worn off. Do you still feel good about it?
I still do because I think this is a bird grail for my main PC guy. I also think there's not very many opportunities to get this card as a pop 10. So I want to make a move on this now.
All right. So where's the dilemma? Where's the deal not getting done?
I'll tell you right here. So I first messaged him. I said, hey, man, I've been talking to our buddy Gabe at Candlestick Sports Cards about your bird rookie auto. I was wondering if you were open to trade or cash plus trade for it. I'm a big bird collector and have some unique stuff that might be up your alley. So he says, I'm open to it. So I sent him a bunch of different pictures. He asked me for the value on my Marshawn Lynch patch, the National Treasures Reebok logo, which I got at the National, and ended up not working out. I told him it was around 200, 250. So he didn't want that one. And he ended up liking my Joe Burrow Select. It's the, what level is it? Premier level. And it's the tie-dye Joe Burrow rookie Select Premier level, numbered out of 25 and a PSA 8. And it's around a $550. The last raw went for about $550. So I said I'd do Burrow plus 1,000, valuing the Burrow around $550, $600. So I wanted to I didn't know where he's at, so I wanted to at least beat the PSA 9 with a 9 auto, figuring he might be around, 2000. I mean, it's all feeling it out. So I didn't know where he was at. So he goes, "I appreciate that offer, but I already turned down 1.88K cash offer." So he had 1,800 cash offer, turned it down, is what he's telling me. Again,
Okay.
I'm just taking his word for it. I mean, I'm sure people do this, not that this guy's doing this, but I'm sure people do this all the time where they say, "I have an offer on the table at this. If you can beat that, the card's yours."
Yeah.
But
And anyone who posts that, by the way, on like an Instagram story, like, "Oh, I got an offer for so and so. Can you beat it?" You think anyone's believing you? This guy, I believe.
yeah,
This is more of like a higher end, classy deal. But
right, right,
you get
right.
what I'm saying. Sidebar.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I
So
agree.
where did you leave it off? Because it sounds like you're not that far off.
Well,
I
okay,
feel
so
like 1,500 cash plus the borough gets it done.
bro, that's what I offered next. I said, "Listen," so I keep thinking about it, and I'm like, "I really need to jump on this card. I wanna get it." Um, and I'll tell you my financial concern also with it, because this is a lot of money. So, he said, "I was originally asking 2.5K cash for it, and that's where I wanted to be." I said, "Okay, understood. I could meet you in the middle at 2.5, or I'm sorry, I can meet you in the middle at a 2K value if you'd like. I feel like that's fair with the PSA 9 with a 9 auto going for 1,500. I can, give you 500 extra for the PSA 10 auto." And so I said, "Would you do Burrow plus 1,400?" Valuing again the Burrow around 5 to 600. So that's getting him to the 2K value that I'm trying to settle on. He said, "I'd pass on the Burrow plus 1,400. It's very similar to the 1,800 cash deal I declined. I appreciate the offer." So I said, "Okay, I'm going to have to keep, this guy's not letting this card go easily," which, by the way, he shouldn't. If it's a pop 10 Bird rookie auto, I mean, this is the type of card you can hold out for a sucker like me to want to really go after it and put it in their personal collection. And he respected that, I'm trying to PC this card. So I said, what did I do? I said, "You know what? I've been thinking about how much I'd like to complete this deal, and I appreciate your willingness to work something out. I'd do Burrow plus 1,600." And he said, "I'll pass, but thank you. I know the blue auto one did 3,100. I think my auto's much better since it pops. I appreciate your offers." Now, there's no public sale on this 3,100. This is, again, his word for it. But I also know that my guy Adam, who I just mentioned, Splendid Sports Cards, told me that he bought his back in 2021 for 3K. So I knew that, and that was back when it was a pop 4. Also in 2021, the market was much hotter for cards. So you have to figure it's lost value because of just the market cooling down from the pandemic high. And also, there's 6 more in the pop than when Adam bought it back in 2021. So you have to figure 2K, 2.5K would be in a fair range for this card, I would think. But then you run into the situation where it's so desirable for a bird collector like me, where, you might be able to ask for a little bit more. But this guy's being pretty fair, I think, with his asking price. I'm just trying to include the Burrow with quite a bit of cash so that I don't have to totally shell out, you know, 2 grand for a card that I'm going to hold on to. So I said, what if I add the Marshawn Lynch rookie logo patch on top of Burrow plus 1,600? That gets you right around your $2,500 value you were looking for. And he said, "Sorry to switch things up on you, but I'm looking for cash as I'm at a show right now and spent a good amount." So I said, "No worries, I understand, hoping that my majority cash deal will work for you." And then I said, I'm kind of just wanting to make this happen and seeing that I'm going to have to, shell out and stop trying to like ease up a little bit on the cash and just kind of bite the bullet and hopefully do it. So I just said, "What cash amount plus Burrow will you accept?" Like, name your amount. And I'm not saying I'm gonna accept it if it's ridiculous, but if it's up to like 2 grand, I'll probably accept it because like we were saying, I think, the 2,500 to $2,000 value for this top 10 bird rookie auto with none higher is probably pretty fair. Left me on red, Craig,
Mhm.
last night. Then I said this morning, because I've been waking up like thinking about this card. I said, let me know when you can. And I added my friend, because hopefully he thinks he's my friend by now.
And
But I
yeah.
said, let me know when you can, my friend. Left me on red again. Seen 2 hours ago.
Oof.
So
That's disappointing, especially after all that engagement. It is.
yeah. Now
Um,
he was waiting quite a. This is why also it's taken a long time. And I understand people are busy, and he doesn't seem like he's in a super rush to sell this card unless he gets a good offer. But he's been waiting a long time, like hours between messages. And so what do you where do I go from here?
I feel for you because it sounds like you put a lot of effort into this just for a stalemate. I, I triple text in a couple days is tough. I would say at this point you got to give it a day or two and not message for a third time and just follow up because I'm assuming that card's not moving within the next 3 days.
Yeah.
Maybe come up with a Burrow plus cash offer. Maybe see what other you showed him all your other cards for trade, right?
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like at this point it's Burrow plus cash.
Yeah.
And if you can't get it done, then it wasn't meant to be. But if you can get it done, then maybe you could sell some other stuff. But I mean, you balls in his court. You
It
you
is.
gave
Yeah.
a few very fair offers. You've done everything you can. So at this point, if it can't close the deal, it's nothing you did wrong. It sounds like you were professional. You kept upping your offer, very reasonable. Now it's up to the seller. There's not much you can do right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's actually active now. So imagine if he replies while we're recording. That would be incredible.
Ooh, imagine
So
him
he
posting
he,
right now.
he also did say earlier in our conversation, he says, I promise I won't sell it without giving you an opportunity to add to your PC. And I said, thanks a lot, man. I said, that means a lot, man. Thank you. Looking forward to it. So hopefully he holds true to his word and actually gets back to me and doesn't, try to sell it without giving me a shot at it. Now, here's where my other predicament comes in, Craig, because we pride ourselves on being open and honest and transparent with some of our finances just because we feel like it can help anybody who's going through a similar card situation of where they're trying to balance out, okay, I have this much money to spend and I have a personal amount of money that I use for living expenses and I have my card fund that I use for cards. So here's one of my problems, and I'm pulling up my Wells Fargo right now. I got $1,218 in my card fund. Okay. I have $4,700 in my checking for my real life expenses. Now, if I pay this 2 grand, I'm gonna have to take out 800 from my checking. That's 800 of my personal dollars. And then I can always, sell some of my cards and recoup that, which I'd be fine with. I just have to stop being lazy and put them on eBay or do another card story sale or Facebook sale. But so I was gasping, I'm like, oh man, I can't really dip into my life savings. I mean, Teddy, he makes dollars and he makes sense, so he knows. So I'm like, can I really dip $800 into my checking? And then I thought to myself, well, I'm in the green like per month. Like I'm making money, I'm saving maybe about $400 per month off of my living expenses and my paycheck. So I kind of figured it to be in 2 months I'll be back to where I would be at if I didn't, you know, take this $800 out of my checking because I'll profit 400 the next month and 400 the next month with my income based against my expenses. So I kind of figured if I do that, it'll be like an early Christmas gift to myself. I'll have no money in the card fund, but it won't like disrupt my life expenses even though it's a lot of money to take out of my I mean, it's like 20% of what I have in my checking account to take $800 out for a card.
The only similar experience that I have is when I bought that Cassius Clay rookie card last year. I budgeted X amount of dollars that I was willing to spend at that time, and whatever the difference was, I made it a point to sell enough cards to make up at least half of that. So
Okay.
maybe if that's $800 more that you were going to take out, look through your collection, see if you could at least sell $400 worth to recoup
Okay.
some of that money. Again,
Okay.
everyone's different. That's just what I did for my own experiences.
Okay. I like that. I like that because then it's half a hit for your card fund and half a hit for you kind of treating yourself with your life money.
Selling cards to be able to buy cards that you really want.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah. And then I'll put it back into my checking account, my life money, and
More life.
get it balanced out. More life. I mean,
More life.
Drake is a card guy, so he knows what he's talking about.
Well,
Rip the 86 Fleer with Ken Golden.
for a minute, he was a card guy.
And the flawless. He was trying to look for the LeBron triple logo man.
Yeah. Drake was a real flash in the pen when it comes to his hobby experience.
Yeah. Yeah. He
Can I share with you?
he had one dance. Drake had one dance with cards. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
You nailed that. Man, there's a lot of good Drake puns we could have included. I didn't think Drake would come up in this episode.
Just to reference his new album, he's a rich baby daddy. That's my favorite song on the new album.
For all the dogs, first person shooter for me.
Okay. With is that 21?
No, that's with J. Cole.
Yes. First person shooter mode. Yeah, that's a good one.
I got a mail day from a listener.
Ooh, okay. Let's. You told me about this. That's awesome.
He's a YouTube commenter too, Brian, who is usa.patriot.cards. And first of all, after talking to Brian, he's got a son who's a sophomore in high school, a 6'4" lefty pitcher. Somebody give this kid a D1 Scully yesterday.
Whoa. He's way better than our D3 athletes.
You can't teach size. And that oh my God, the curve on the ball as a lefty. But anyway, Brian, I totally unexpected. I got a mail day. Said, Craig, I hope this finds you well. Here's a little something for a fellow teacher coach to say thank you for a great year of amazing hobby content. P.S. The Mark Jackson Menendez bros, right after they killed their parents watching a Knicks game courtside. Ain't the hobby fun? Say hey to Carmine for me. Best, Brian. Wow. So here's the mail day. A Frank Ntilikina Prism Silver rookie card.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
The Mark Jackson Melendez brothers card, which surprisingly I did not own.
Yeah. Oh, you know what's funny? I got one of those at the National because it was so iconic.
A Walt Frazier Contenders autograph to add to my Walt autograph.
Wow. Okay. Wow. And more than one gift. Jeez.
And another Frank Ntilikina gold out of 10, impeccable RPA.
Whoa, that's actually a nice card.
This is a great gift. And let me tell you, I like to collect Knicks cards because when I have kids when I'm older, or maybe I have a friend who's a Knicks fan who comes over, we're just strolling through the cards. It's like being able to tell stories. Oh, like remember all the time Charles Oakley on the 90s Knicks. Oh, Walt Frazier, all the times he announced games. And I saw Walt Frazier at a bar mitzvah once. Yeah. For Frank Ntilikina, maybe one of the most talked about Knicks as my life as a Knicks fan. Like, who's this Frank guy? He's from France. A lot of my friends think he's good. Personally, I never did. Who could we have gotten in the draft over him? So it just
that's the worst question.
It just makes for a great talking point. And by the way, the answer to that question is Donovan Mitchell.
We could have had New York's finest.
I know. So really fun mail day, fun gift from Brian. So thank you, Brian, for being a loyal listener. And yeah, that really made my hobby week.
Man, shout out Brian. That's awesome. And not one gift, 4 gifts, 2 Ntilikina, a Walt Clyde Frazier, and a Mark Jackson iconic with the Menendez brothers, who they went a little bit too crazy on what they did, obviously. But it's an iconic card.
And Mark Jackson joining the Knicks broadcasting. So we've actually got 2 Knicks broadcasters right here. How about that?
Wait a minute. Mark Jackson's on the Knicks now?
He is joining the Knicks broadcasting team.
Let's go. So he's gonna stay with my guy Mike Breen, at least in some capacity.
You're gonna join that. Yeah, Mark Jackson moving towards the Knicks broadcast role after getting let go by ESPN. Yes. I know another broadcaster who once worked at ESPN. Maybe he'll eventually join the MSG team.
We'll
I don't know.
see, because that could be a mystery of the sports broadcasting universe.
How about that?
So, Greg, real quick, we also, speaking of listeners and viewers, by the way, shout out to Brian. That is so awesome. That is incredible that somebody can have a connection and, send in the cards just off of connecting with us. Can't even describe how cool that is. So we did also get a question from a viewer, and it was a comment on YouTube saying, off of our We're Game Used guys, what would be your tier of preference when it comes to game used cards? For example, most preferred being a game used logo man, then a sponsor logo, then a letter, then 3-color stripe, and so on until you get to napkin, pajama, jersey piece. Just a thought, and might make a good conversation, as people may have different personal preferences. And I think this person, Dstiller13, by the way, thanks for watching and commenting. I think they nailed it. I mean, a game used logo man, sponsor logo, a letter piece, 3-color stripe, and so on until you get to napkin pajama. I mean, I guess there's a few levels. I love the pajama. I've never heard that one. I've heard napkin. I've never heard like a pajama piece. That's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you nailed it with the 3-color stripe, and then I guess you'd have, a 2-color patch, and then from there, I guess it'd have to be a napkin or a single color jersey piece. But that's basically a great breakdown of how you would rank, the best game used cards all the way down to the least desirable game used cards. But Craig, you don't settle for the 2-color Knicks patches. You need a 3-color Knicks patch, because we saw this really great Patrick Ewing game used. It kind of looked like pieces of the letter. It wasn't like
It was definitely
totally.
It was definitely the letter,
totally,
but
yeah.
To quote another huge episode for broadcasters.
Let's go.
To quote another broadcaster, Stephen A. Smith, kind of a broadcaster, right?
No, he's the sports broadcaster.
Yeah. To quote Stephen A. Smith, orange and blue skies. So that's how I need my patches to have. My Knicks patches have to have orange and blue in them.
I thought you were going to say, to quote Stephen A. Smith, stay off the weed. Duh.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that, though.
Okay. Right. Here's the Patrick Ewing patch we were talking about, and it was from my guy, AO Cards. He's really coming up in the hobby and selling a lot. Good guy to do deals with. But I thought this was sick. And after you pointed it out, Craig, and we shared his story sale with each other, because we're always, looking out for each other. What cards might the other guy like? And it was $100. I didn't pull a trigger on it because I'm trying to save money for this Bird rookie auto, which hopefully, by the mysteries of the hobby universe, we can close a deal here. That would be awesome. But here's the Patrick Ewing game used patch, numbered out of 25. It's gold standard. I thought it was pretty cool, but then I sent it to you and you said 3 colors or it don't matter.
Well, just to give you some context, I have 2 Patrick Ewing patches coming in from Poland. Not 2, not 3, but 4 colors: white, black, orange, blue. And the other one also from Poland, same seller. There's a little blue in there, so also 4 colors.
That's great.
That light is not working. There you go. Boom. Blue, orange, black, white. So I picked up those 2 from Poland for $185.
I think it's a pretty good deal. What are they numbered out of?
What, 25, both of them.
Both of them. Okay. That's pretty good.
I'll take
it. That.
4 color patches, under $100 each for Patrick Ewing, all day.
And Patrick Ewing, I know his autos, of course, are very tough to find. I have one right here, Big Pat, the Ultimate Signatures 0304 out of the Ultimate Collection. Still going for this set. I had a potential deal on the Kobe of this year, of course, the iconic rookie year, but couldn't make it happen because the person wanted more cash. So, but I would much rather have a Larry Bird Grail over, continuing to complete that set, because that set's going to be there much more than the Pop 10 1981 Bird rookie auto, PSA 9 with a 10 auto, Pop 10, none higher. I got to close this deal, Craig. I just got to man up, get the cash out, put it on the table, and say there's not many opportunities to get a card like this. I just need to do it. So let me ask you this before we sign off. Should I message him a third time and say 2,000 plus the Burrow? Let's close this deal.
if you think you can make that work and you're going to be willing to sell some cards, do it.
Or should I say 1,800 in the borough?
Start with that.
Start with 1,800 in the borough.
Yes.
Because it's just so hard when somebody, and I feel like it's almost like a desperate thing. Like, I don't want to be desperate
That's why I said don't triple text.
But if that desperation ends up in a grail card, can I show a little shame? Can I put my pride aside and say, listen, let's close this sucker 1,800 plus borough right now?
Yeah, do it.
I've triple texted before, not about sports cards. So why can't I do it when it really will add something to my PC?
They left you on red, so obviously you can't wait for them to make the move. Go for it.
Okay. All right.
Just as the natural sunlight is coming into the apartment, I think it was meant. It's shining down on you right now.
This deal feels natural.
Okay. I'll talk to you next week.
That was great. I love how we tied in the theme. We're getting good with these themes. I think we're bringing it full circle. It's circling around, using gravity, right back to Earth, because the hobby universe, the mysteries are still untold in some cases.
Oh, yeah. All right.
All right, bro.
Peace.